Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I just wanted to make a quick announcement before we get rolling. I've been seeing a steady increase in the comments section from people saying that they're no longer seeing my videos in their YouTube feed. People saying that they assumed that I had quit posting for a couple of weeks, and then they go look at my channel and see that I've been posting this whole time. Well, I've done a lot of digging, and apparently YouTube has changed the way their algorithm works. They don't really take into account who you subscribe to and show you that content. What they do is they try to show you content that they think that you'll like, and apparently they're basing that off of likes and comments. Essentially, what content did you physically interact with? So if you're one of the many who are not seeing my videos show up in your feed anymore, and I'm assuming that's quite a bit of you because my views have basically dropped in half. From the way I understand it, in order to continue to get my videos to show up in your feed, you just simply have to click like or leave a comment on each video. And I'm not saying this because it's going to help me financially. YouTube doesn't pay you off of anything except for your views. You don't get paid off of comments and likes. But if you want to ensure that you have the best chance of my new post actually showing up in your YouTube feed, just simply click like or leave a comment. And personally, out of the two, I prefer you to leave a comment. I like reading them, I like seeing what you guys are all thinking, and I like hearing what your thoughts and theories are. It's been more than a handful of times that my thoughts on a particular subject were changed because of something that someone left me in the comments section. But I just wanted to throw out that little public service announcement. Now let's get after it.
We see a future where intelligence is a utility, like electricity or water, and people buy it from us on a meter and use it for whatever they want to use it for.
So let me just get this straight. OpenAI was founded as a non-profit. It was open source, which means it was for everyone to benefit humanity, they said. Then he raised billions and billions of dollars. And after he raised those billions of dollars, he closed the source code. Then after he closed the source code, he converted it to for-profit. He scraped the entire internet without asking anyone. I wonder who rang alarm bells for that. Then he used your writing, your art, your codes to train his models. And now he's on stage asking us to pay him?
Buy it from us.
For intelligence? Like a water meter? Am I getting this right? Am I missing something? Like, that's what's happening here, right? He stole all your data, he built a product using your work, and now he's going to charge you to use it.
Most of us are already paying for some sort of AI service. Like ChatGPT costs around $20 a month. I know a ton of people that are using it. But it should have been obvious to all of us that this is the direction this was headed in. Just think, we used to be able to collect our own rainwater or have a well on our property, which you could still have a well in some areas. But how many news stories have we seen about people trying to collect their own rainwater to just simply water their garden with, and they get these massive fines? They want to own and control everything so they can profit off of it. I'm kind of surprised that in 2026 we're not already paying for clean air to breathe. These people are absolutely ridiculous.
They are all lying to you, and here is your proof. Be right back.
This is a short-term disruption for the long-term gain.
Short-term pain for the long-term gain.
Short-term pain be for long-term gain.
We're going to have some short-term pain with long-term gain.
Short-term pay for a long-term gain.
Some short-term pain, yes, but we've got some long-term gain. Short-term spike for a long-term gain.
Some short-term pain for American consumers.
We may have to deal with that in the short term.
Short-term and temporary.
Temporary short-term pain.
It's going to suck in the short term.
Some short-term pain.
Short-term pain. We have to focus on the short-term.
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 Short-term and long-term.
Short-term.
Make sure you get this out there like wildfire. Here's the problem. Mostly everybody in America is brainwashed. Fear-mongering, right? No, it's the truth. And they say, oh, you're watching the wrong news station. It's all of them. Don't y'all remember what Operation Mockingbird is? We'll get to this in 1 second. Let me make this clear for people who still believe their TV screen. If you don't have independent journalists on the ground in these locations, you're going to be out of the loop and completely unaware of anything that's happening. I have those things, and so do other people. There is no right media station. But yeah, shoot the messenger as always. Listen.
You just wait to see what comes in the next 2 weeks.
The next 2 weeks meaning what?
we're going to blow the hell out of these people. This regime is in a death row now. It is going to be on its knees. It's going to fall. And when it falls, we're going to have peace. Like
When it falls, they're gonna have peace. When they say peace and safety. Parallels, as always. Get this out there. Let me know what you think. Why do all these people still believe what's on their TV screen?
What a sad state we're in 2026. And you know, I'm half convinced that most of the audience watching this stuff is watching it just to see what kind of nonsense they're going to say. At least I can only hope that with as many views as they still currently get, that at least half of those people are just watching out of morbid curiosity, that they're not watching everything and just taking what they hear as gospel. But with everything that's come out in the past few years, or with everything that's come out just since the beginning of this year, how is everyone not awake yet? Why are we not seeing everyone turn from these sources whenever they need to get their news? A part of me almost wonders if they're lying about their viewership. Like maybe they're artificially inflating those numbers just to make the average person question, is this the majority opinion of the population? Is this what everyone's listening to and believing? If I know the truth and I say something other than what they're saying on these news stations, am I going to be the pariah? Am I going to be the odd man out? Because I don't know anyone who actually thinks this way. But maybe I'm just fortunate. Maybe I don't know that many people that are asleep behind the wheel.
President Trump just signed a directive to start 6G deployment to operate implantable technologies in the human body.
I was a leader on 5G getting that done, and now they're up to 6.
It's actually on the White House's website. Now, this echoes RFK's statements from earlier this year, where he said that he wants every American to wear wearable data sensors, wearables for short.
My vision is that every American is wearing a wearable within 4 years.
He's going to launch one of the biggest advertising campaigns to convince people to wear wearables.
D'abord, on va les implanter dans nos vêtements, c'est-à-dire wearables, comme on le dit.
He's calling it MABA, which means Making America Biotech Accelerate. Remember what Klaus Schwab said. First, they will introduce consumables, then wearables, which will be the final stepping stone to implantables.
Et après, on pourrait s'imaginer qu'on les implante dans nos cerveaux ou dans notre peau.
First on the body and then in the body. Again, this is another pointer that the Trump administration is bringing in the AI transhumanist control grid with 6G and implantable technologies.
This is one of the most terrifying things happening right now. I feel like it's obvious that this is where the mark of the beast comes in. They're going to give you some implantable device and they're going to tell you if you don't have this device, you're no longer capable of being involved with the economy. You can't buy anything, you can't sell anything, you can't rent or buy a home, you can't even go get groceries. Then they're going to set up checkpoints everywhere, and if you don't have one of these implantable devices, you can't travel through the checkpoints because they can't verify your identity. Seeing stuff like this play out, though, is really, honestly, what makes me think I'm probably going to exit this life by starving to death, because I will never allow them to implant technology inside my body. Even if you're a huge technology nerd and you have visions of the Matrix, of being able to just push a button on the side of your head and suddenly you're in a completely different atmosphere, a completely different environment, and you can download new skills and you've got these superhuman capabilities, just stop and think about the people who are controlling this stuff and how little we can trust them. Just because something has great potential doesn't mean it's going to be used that way. We all know exactly how this is going to be used. Control, control, control.
I don't mean to induce any fear, because fear is a vibration lowering emotion. But dude, if you go to your phone right now, or your calendar on any computer, Microsoft, Windows, Apple, iPhone, and you scroll to 2030, there are no holidays in the calendar after 2030. Now, some people are postulating the end of the world. I'm more thinking 2030 is a pretty big year if you're the Illuminati. You know, they have a lot planned by 2030, namely Agenda 2030. So I went, this is January 2030, and I scrolled 2020, 2020, 31, 32, 33. No holidays at all. Some people think this has something to do with the Avatar Project milestones. This is the Moscow New Era for the Human Century, whatever they call it. Listen to what they have planned, and they've already met a lot of these. 2015 to 2020, they wanted a robotic copy of a human body remotely controlled via BCI. Avatar B, 2020 to 2025, they want an avatar in which a human brain is transplanted at the end of one's life. Now, they may have been doing that in deep underground military bases for a while, but here's where it gets weird. And this is why people are sounding the alarm about artificial intelligence and AI. By 2030 to 2035, they want an avatar with an artificial brain in which a human personality is transferred at the end of one's life. And 2040 to 2045, they want a hologram-like avatar. If you didn't know, the movie The Matrix is a documentary. Their plan for humanity is literally more Matrixy than it is right now. And apparently how they get there is AI will take millions of jobs. People will beg for a new economic system because they can't get a job. The solution will be offered, namely universal basic income. Everyone gets enough money to survive, but anything that you're dependent on has control over you. They would need to bring down the current financial system in order to instill the new. You gotta wonder how the natural world all around us is being destroyed by these psychopaths while implementing and creating an artificial world for us to be in.
I think this guy's exactly right. And as far-fetched as this idea sounds like it's some bad, overused plot to a sci-fi film, just look around you and look at everything that's happening right now. They're basically pouring every available dollar into building out this artificial intelligence technology. The suspicions surrounding cloning technology get stronger and stronger by the day. There are multiple companies working on implantables that are supposed to go directly into your brain that can alter the way you think, alter your moods, give you abilities that you aren't supposed to have. And then while all of this stuff is happening, they're systematically destroying society. And there's seemingly nothing being done to fix anything. Just get on Instagram or TikTok today and look and see how many people there are complaining about waiting 6 or 7 hours in line to go through TSA at the airport. It's 2026. That should take no longer than 5 minutes. But our governments are just letting everything collapse. Because if they make life too hard to live, people will accept anything. They just want a solution. And no one's paying close enough attention to realize that the people creating the solution are the same ones who created the problem.
The same man who bought the Twin Towers weeks before they went down recently bought the largest tower on the West Coast. The U.S. Bank Tower in California was recently bought by Larry Silverstein. And for those of you who don't know, Larry Silverstein was the same man who bought the Twin Towers 6 weeks before they went down. With recent FBI insights of a possible terror attack off the coast of California from Iran, the Department of War unveiling their new LUCAS drones, an exact replica of the Iranian Shahed drones. Is this their target for a false flag attack to get us back in the Middle East, just like they did 25 years ago?
Larry Silverstein famously never missed a day at work. He showed up and ate breakfast on the 91st floor of the North Tower every single day, except for 9/11. He also took out an insurance policy that covered for terrorist attacks. After 9/11, he was awarded $4.5 billion in insurance. But what do you guys think about all this?
Yeah, you can't say that's not at least a little suspicious. I would say anyone who works in that building may want to start taking days off. There does seem to be a sickness going around right now, some sort of flu or head cold. I think everybody that works in that building should probably consider getting it, or at least claiming to have it so they can stay home for the next couple of weeks. But I'm just curious, with as many people as there are making this connection and making this prediction that something's going to happen to this building, if this was their plan, are they now planning to divert and pull something else off? Because if they go with plan A, how will they ever spin this? Everyone who's paying attention right now thinks this is about to happen. So if it actually does, how are they going to explain it away? How are they going to convince the public that this wasn't them? If Iran was smart, this would be their target. Either way, I would stay away from that building.
Just a quick reminder that you can set up a religious organization with 2 of your non-related friends and donate your entire salary to it and avoid taxes that way. Also, churches are exempt from property taxes, which isn't bad.
Nothing's in my name. Nothing. The car is in the church. Everything that I have is in my churches, right? And so when I get a donation, I don't have to report it to anyone. The IRS code tells you that, right? I don't have to go and fill out a 990 or a 1023 or let the IRS know how much I made because I am actively working in churches in the state. You don't have jurisdiction. This is my private property that I'm deciding to get donations. This is an LLC. Stop dealing with the LLC and set up your church. Then every time or anyone compensates you for your work or your performance, that is a donation to you. And then you can go and spend that donation any way you want because it's in your church and not you. Everybody should have that. You know, and if you're a W-2, 50% into a church, why can't that church be your church?
You don't need to be a pastor to start a ministry, and you don't need permission from the IRS either. Under 508C1A of the Internal Revenue Code, unincorporated ministries are automatically tax exempt by law. You can operate as a minister and apply for exemption from self-employment taxes using Form 4361. Any land or property under your ministry is non-taxable, even your house. You can get exempt license plates, skip registration fees, and travel without being treated like commercial cargo. You can even walk into a store and buy items tax-free if you use your ministry bank card. Now here's the power move. If you have a for-profit business, you can donate money to your own ministry and write it off as a tax-deductible donation. Then the ministry can loan that money back to your business at 0% interest legally. That's how your business becomes tax-free, because loans aren't taxable income.
The parking lot holds 3,000 cars. Today, there are 47. Inside, the food court is dark, the bookstore empty. 7,000 seats arranged in perfect rows, facing a stage that cost $12 million to build. This is Willow Creek Community Church, the church that taught America how to build a religious empire. The church that drew 75,000 people every year to leadership conferences. Now it's for sale, and it's not alone. Right now, across America, half of all megachurches are quietly preparing to close their doors forever. The deadline? 2026. The collapse has already started. Harvest Bible Chapel in Chicago, 13,000 members in 2018. By 2023, fewer than 1,000. The church declared bankruptcy, owing $73 million. $73 million. Crystal Cathedral in California, the glass monument that invented televised church, sold to the Catholic Church after bankruptcy.
I wonder what the detail about there being a deadline in 2026 has to do with. I wonder what the connection is between all of these mega churches suddenly closing their doors. I would like to hope that people are waking up and realizing that these are corrupt organizations and that they're not getting anything from it. But I kind of doubt that's what's actually going on. But what I'm actually seeing, and I watch a lot of religious content and a lot of news updates on this sort of thing, and what I'm actually seeing happening is people are driving from like 15 hours away to, for example, go see, what's his name, Philip Anthony Mitchell preach, that black pastor that's really, really good, the guy that's always wiping his forehead in the middle of a sermon and just really, really into it. Maybe people are waking up, and instead of looking for churches that will tickle their ear, as the scripture says, maybe they're all moving over to churches that are actually preaching the gospel, that are actually preaching the truth. But as far as that first half of that video clip, I don't have any opinion on that. I'm certainly not here to give out any financial advice, but go dig into that and you'll see they're not exactly misleading people. This is exactly what these mega churches use. But I have a feeling that it won't be too long before all of these tax exemptions and things are going to be a thing of the past. I have a feeling they're about to start coming down hard on the churches.
Don't you think it's crazy that your credit score, which by the way is the precursor to a social credit score, right now it's just about keeping track of your finances, making sure your payments are on time. But when it's a social credit, it'll be, are your comments in line? Are you posting anything too crazy? But that your credit score is based on companies working with Equifax, TransUnion, and they give you a credit score based on your debt to service ratio and whatnot, when the U.S. national debt is almost $9 trillion. And I don't know that there's a Western country that actually has very low debt at all, which pretty much is impossible to ever pay off. So what's the big idea, and what would their credit score be?
That's a very good question. But this is a connection I haven't really heard a lot of people talk about. Just think about, we haven't seen the social credit score really being talked about in the mainstream yet. A lot of us have talked about it. I've brought it up many times on this channel. But a lot of people are under the misconception that it won't be that big of a deal. That as long as you're a good person, as long as you're nice and you're being friendly and you're not doing anything illegal, you'll have a decent social credit score and you'll have nothing to worry about. But how many nice, decent, hardworking people have a horrible credit score because of something that was completely outside of their control? It happens all the time. Or how many times have you went to go check your credit and see that there's something on there that you've already paid, or see something on there that doesn't have anything to do with you and you've got to fight it for 3 years. How many times have you gone to check your credit score only to discover that you've got a hit from something that you thought you had way more time to handle? It's going to be the exact same way with a social credit score. And if you think it's stressful trying to keep a high credit score so that you can get a bank loan, just imagine having to keep an eye on your social credit score, because if you don't, you can't get on a train, or they won't allow you into a movie theater. We can't let something like this go into effect.
Alright, so I'm going to take you down one of the deepest rabbit holes you'll ever go down, starting with Albert Pike. First of all, Albert Pike was a 33rd degree Freemason, the highest rank. He wasn't just a general or a writer, he was a literal architect. An architect that built the moral software of their system. And when I say their, you know exactly who I'm talking about. Albert's script, which do keep in mind, this man was literally alive during the 1800s, okay? This is what he decided to write about. The What Plan for 3 World Wars, August 15th, 1871. First World War must be brought about in order to permit the what to overthrow the power of the czars in Russia of making that country a fortress of atheistic communism. Talking about 40 plus years before World War I. It says the divergences caused by the agents of the what between the British and Germanic empires will be used to foment this war. Look at how specific this is. At the end of the war, communism will be built and used in order to destroy the other governments and in order to weaken the religions. Second World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences between the fascists and the political Zionists. War must be brought about so that what is destroyed and that the political Zionism be strong enough to institute a sovereign state of what and where. During the Second World War, international communism must become strong enough in order to balance Christendom, which would be then restrained and held in check until the time when we would need it for the final social cataclysm. Third World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences caused by the agents of the what, once again, between the political Zionists and the leaders of Islamic world. The war must be conducted in such a way that Islam and political Zionism mutually destroy each other. Meanwhile, the other nations, once more divided on this issue, will be constrained to fight to the point of complete physical, moral, spiritual, and economical exhaustion. We shall unleash the nihilists and the atheists, and we shall provoke a formidable social cataclysm, which in all its horror will show clearly to the nations the effect of absolute atheism, origin of savagery, and of the most bloody turmoil. And everywhere, the citizens, obliged to defend themselves against the world minority of revolutionaries, will exterminate those destroyers or civilization, and the multitude disillusioned with Christianity. Those deistic spirits will from that moment be without compass or direction, anxious for an ideal but without knowing where to render its adoration, will receive the true light through the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer, brought finally out into the public view. Please tell me how the that is a coincidence. I guess Albert Pike just had a wild sense of imagination, right? Just saying, how much do you believe in time travel? You look into a series of books written by somebody named Ingersoll Lockwood. 2 of them that are just way too accurate. And so many names mentioned in these books are way too familiar. I'm just saying, have an open mind.
Anyone who's willing to be honest with themselves cannot look at that and honestly say that this is not the blueprint that we've been following piece by piece over the past 100 years. And if so many pieces of the past lined up with this exactly how it's laid out, why would we not assume that the events that take place in the future would not also line up exactly with this plan? Things are getting scary, folks. The end is near, and we all need to be prepared for it. And you could have maybe brushed off the future part of this plan maybe a year ago and said it's just too extreme. But with all the details that came out in those e-files, all the mountains of evidence showing who these people worship, that they're all Luciferian, you can't just brush this off anymore. This is the direction that we're headed in. But guys and gals, I'm going to go ahead and end the video right there. I hope you enjoyed these clips we watched together today. Don't forget to click like and comment so that my videos will continue to show up in your YouTube feed. God willing, I'll be back tomorrow with another video. I hope you come back to join me. For those of you who haven't been getting my videos showing up in your feed over the past little while, I've still been releasing 4 or 5 videos a week. Here lately, I've even been releasing videos on the weekend. So if this video wasn't long enough for you, there's 10, 15 more that you can go watch right now. But guys and gals, I hope everyone has a great, safe, fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you all in the next one.